Third advantage. If you're living in a developing country, you have the potential to be more creative than a person living in a developed country. I say the potential. I was in America 2 weeks ago, and of course, American says to me, so where is the Chinese Steve Jobs? I said, where's the American Steve Jobs? Okay, you have one, but where's the other one? I'm not saying Americans are not creative. Of course they are. I'm not saying Swedes are non-creative. God, we have the Nobel Prize, for God's sake. We award other people's ideas. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the people in the developing world has the potential to be more creative than the developed world. More. And I'll explain what I mean. Because when I say this, people say, didn't you used to live in China? How can you say developing innovation, creativity, and China? How can you use innovation and China in the same sentence? Chinese, they can't innovate, they just copy. And that is partly true. Then you get stories like this, and suddenly you start to feel that maybe your argument is going to falter here. Because a guy told, did you hear about that? So the government of Shanghai, right? The government of Shanghai decided they were going to build a new city outside Shanghai for 30,000 people. So they decided, took their cameras, and they went around the world, and they started looking for cute cities. Right? So they came to Europe, they came to Sweden, they came to Stockholm, and they went outside Stockholm, and they found this gorgeous little city called Sigtuna. It's 1,000 years old. It is really beautiful. It is it's really picturesque little city. And the Chinese fell in love. And up with the cameras. Took all the pictures, went to the government, to the city government, said, give us all your drawings. And then they went home to Shanghai. And this is a true story. They built an exact replica. Here it is. 30,000 Chinese living in Sigtuna 2. And you get stories like this, and of course, you say, well, there's no innovation, they just copy us. But then I met this young Chinese woman, 28 years old, Chinese Indonesian actually, now living in China, working for IDEO. Do you know IDEO? The leading creativity consultant in the world. She's working for them in Shanghai. And she said, you Westerners, you're obsessed by innovation. You're obsessed by this idea that innovation means coming up with something brand new. You're consumed by copyright. She said, it's not about copyright. It's like copyright here, copyright there. It's all you talk about, copyright here. She said, it's not about copyright. It's about copying right. And this is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Because when I was in China, there was a conference called Innovative China. And the theme was so there was 1,000 Chinese in the audience and 3 Westerners at the podium. There was a head of Ericsson in China, head of Nokia in China, head of Motorola in China, and me. And then the moderator says, so how can China become an innovative country? And the guy from Ericsson says, well, if China is going to be an innovative country, you need to learn how to stop copying. And then the guy from Nokia said, well, if you're going to be an innovative country, you need to stop copying. And then the guy from Motorola said, if China's going to be an innovative country, you need to stop copying. And then me. So I look at them, I said, excuse me, but for 3 guys who are talking about the value of doing things different, you sound very much the same. And then I looked at them and I said, excuse me, which one of you invented the mobile phone? Because the other 2 must have copied, huh? invented the mobile phone? See, which company? Motorola. Yeah, that's because you're so Americanized in Singapore. As a Swede, we like to say Sweden, okay? Because Motorola invented the first mobile phone, but Ericsson invented the first mobile phone system. And without a system, there's no use for a phone, correct? And Nokia made it a global product that everyone could afford. So who invented the mobile phone? All of them. It is impossible to invent anything if you do not copy. Remember the definition of the formula. An idea, you take two previously known things, you combine it in a new way. Everyone copies. The greatest, most creative person who has ever lived, perhaps, arguably, is Picasso. Famous for being different, right? Picasso said, good artists copy. Great artists steal. Now, I think China has the potential to be the most creative country the world has ever seen 10 to 15 years from now. Why? Because if you're going around the world taking pictures of everything, you are absorbing knowledge. Now, what they have to learn, of course, is not to copy a city and then copy the whole thing, but to take the best of every city that they see, combine that into something will become better. But at least they're there taking photos. While the Westerners are standing in our little booth thinking everyone will come to us and learn because we have nothing to learn from them.